Hello and welcome to another presentation brought to you by UFOs and conspiracyinfo.com. And I just got a couple of very quick announcements before I get into today's topic. First of all, we've sourced a couple of freebies for anyone who visits our website. You don't have to subscribe or anything. Feel free. If you fancy them, you only have to pay the shipping. There's a couple of nice things on there. Shipping's about what, $4 or something, I'm not sure, but take a look. If you want it, have it. If you don't, no skin off my nose. You know, it's free. So that's that. And then also I want to just tell you that we're developing a system on the website. In fact, it's almost there. Try it. It may be functional already, and it's certainly developing. So it's going to be very exciting. It's going to become like a social media network right on our website. So just like Facebook, where you can actually register, upload a profile, you know, chat with people, share files, you know, join groups, you know, get real buddy with people. And, you know, of course, it's geared towards the whole niche of, you know, people that are interested in UFOs, conspiracies, extraterrestrial life, anything to do with space, you know, like all that stuff that you and I are interested in. You know, so it's a place to meet great like-minded people. Okay, so that's that out of the way. Let's move on. Let's talk about what we're going to discuss today on the video. So today's video is entitled World War Mars. I'm also going to be discussing a bit of about Pareidolia, but yeah, about Mars. Now, we'll get into Mars in a minute. Let's just talk about this Pareidolia thing. Let me share screens. And we'll get right into it. Bear with me. Okay. Sharing screens. We're not looking at this screen. We're going to look first of all at this screen. Okay, so Pareidolia, what is it? Well, first of all, what it is when you see something that is insignificant, but you make a meaning out of it that it's not. Now, the best way to try and explain this is to give a few examples. I'll tell you what this image is in a moment. But an example is if you see a cloud in the sky and you see like facial features in the cloud, there's obviously not a face in the cloud. It just looks that way, but we see it because it's a familiar thing for us and we understand it. There's a face, and like we see the face in the cloud. But it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. You know, there is no face. But the same thing in like the foam on your coffee froth. You can see like a couple of little holes in the froth for eyes and a little semicircle mouth, and we think, oh, you know, there's a face. Well, yeah, it's very funny and it's interesting, and you show your wife or your girlfriend, oh look, I've got a little face in my coffee, but that's all it is. It's insignificant. It's not a face. You know, someone may say, oh, there's the face of Jesus in my cheese on my toast, you know. Same thing. It's just not. Okay, but in rocks, we're going to bring this to rocks because you know, people accuse people of pareidolia when looking at rocks on Mars. So the question is, could a rock be completely natural and in no way artificial and yet look naturally like a human head? Well, the answer is yes. And I'm going to show you some examples on the Earth where this occurs. Okay? And then I'm going to explain about how you could allow your paranoia of pareidolia to discourage you from finding anomalies on Mars when you shouldn't be discouraged because there's good reason. Okay? Now, let's look at this image. This is on Earth, and we've got like hair, like the green hair, and we've got like eyes and a nose and a mouth and a chin. It's really cool. Looks just like a head. Okay, and then here we got another one. It's like a bit of a, like maybe a pharaoh queen or something. We got a neck. Whoops, and we got like a bit of a face here and the head. Okay. Now here's a head with some eyes and a nose. There isn't a mouth, but there's a head. Oh, I suppose there's a little bit of hair. Okay, so here's another one. It's a side on, but if you look at it sideways, there's a nose, lips, maybe an eye. I don't know. But anyway, there's another example, and there's another example. Doesn't look too much like heads, but it is. But these are natural, and they're not done on purpose by ancient civilizations or anything. They're just natural examples on the Earth, and we might see them on Mars, and they are nothing. And this is an example that I believe is a case of pareidolia. So I pulled this off Google Images. Someone has circled this, believing that it's perhaps a dragon or a lizard head. Whereas to me, I think it's clearly two rocks, one on top of the other. We don't see any teeth in the slit that's supposed to be the mouth. It's not a well-defined enough eye. So I think it's just a coincidence, and it means nothing. And also the biggest giveaway is the fact that it has no different color to the surrounding background. All the rocks around it are exactly the same color. So to me, this is not a good case of, oh, I found something on Mars. Okay. Now, interestingly, had someone pointed this out, this would have got my attention a lot bigger, because these are straight lines, perfect corners. Looks like a block rather than a natural stone or rock that doesn't usually have a perfect shape to it. But hey, we're not really talking about that just yet, so we'll move on. Now, here is an example, and I spoke about this in a previous video. Okay, this is one of the PIA images from the Curiosity rover, and I did it in my previous video. It was a site where there's a few anomalies, and I did a Google Images search, and I didn't find this. So I don't know, and I tell you what, it'd be nice if I'm the only person in the whole wide world to have discovered this in the image, because I tell you what, if you zoom out, I mean, you would never find this. I mean, I found this by sheer luck as I was like combing the entire image, like centimeter by centimeter, and then I sort of came across this. And this to me is very different to the examples we looked upon around the Earth. Yeah, I mean, these are like just about make out, oh yeah, you know, these are, it's like a face. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I did go around Google Earth and I looked in the deserts, and yeah, there's faces in rocks everywhere. There is. Okay, but it's just like very like basic eyes and the mouth, you know. Whereas this, what we're looking at here, I believe, is a significant case of what could be potentially a something authentic as an artificial anomaly here. Okay, because we're looking at a lot more detail and definition. You know, it's a very defined eye with like a pupil in it. And we see like lines in the head, the way the head is shaped, yeah, and a decent snout there, and then something here, and then these like jaggedy bits that come out like a dinosaur, you know, for the neck. We see that, but then just to kind of add even more authenticity to it, not only is there a little leg here, but look, and it took me the second time I looked at this to actually realize there's a body attached to the head. But if it wasn't for the fact that there was these jaggedy bits on top of the back, I would think, oh, that's just like, you know, a little curvy rock. But I mean, these jaggedy bits just kind of give the game away. I think, wow, that really is a dragon. But obviously it's a stone texture. I believe it's a statue of a dragon that belongs in someone's house or in their garden or whatever. And this sounds crazy. I'm beginning to sound crazy, I know. But as the video progresses, you'll realize that what I'm talking about. Okay. So anyway, so that's this whole pareidolia talk. Now, here's the thing. Okay, now we're still on the topic of pareidolia, because this is what it all boils down to, right? Is significant relevance and irrelevance. Okay. Now, if there's a reason for something being, then yes, it's worth looking for it. All right. A face in the froth of your coffee, we know that there's no face in the froth of your coffee. It just kind of looks that way with the indentations in the froth, but it's just a bit of fun. Okay. If you find something on Mars that is relevant to the surrounding area and there's related things nearby in the proximity, then we're onto something. Then it's like very sensible sensible speculation. Okay, now there's a reason why I brought up this whole issue of pareidolia on this video, and you'll see why as we get into this PIA image that we're about to get into. And now we're going to cover the topic of World War Mars. You see, I believe that Mars was once a civilized planet, much like the Earth. And it's much like the Earth because some Martians came to the Earth thousands or millions of years ago. I'm not sure of the chronology, okay? But some of them that survived the catastrophe on Mars came to the Earth, and so life as we know it today, and society as we know it today, is very much influenced by the original Martian settlers that came to the Earth. Yeah, and NASA, and I covered this in a previous video and on a blog on the website UFOsandConspiracyInfo.com, that Mars, according to NASA, was once covered in oceans, and it was it was like forests. It was like real Earth-like. Yeah, I mean, it was like rich, and Earth-like, and they know that. That's not a theory. They know that Mars was once in this state, but what had happened is it lost its atmospheric pressure, which made all the surface water evaporate into space, and so it then became barren and lifeless. Okay, and so something had to occur in order for this to happen, and that's why I believe it's not pareidolia when you see not just a random something in the middle of an area that has nothing else, but when you see an area where there's a lot of evidence that there was once a settlement there, be it a village, a town, a city, whatever, then it makes sense. You join the dots and you realize that here is evidence of when Mars was once upon a time inhabited prior to its cataclysm. Okay, and so I've seen one such place, which I'm going to show you now, or what I believe to be one such place. Okay, and let me just get the screen up. Okay, so it was this image, which is NASA JPL photojournal, as always. So it's the original source. So it's the Curiosity Rover PIA 17931, and you can do exactly what I did so that you can check for yourself. You can download it. You just go to one of these, you choose your file, you download it, as I did, and when I downloaded it in Windows Photo Viewer so that I could zoom in. And a second, just get rid of my screen so that yeah, here we go. Okay, so what I went to do is I found so many anomalies that I needed to make markers for myself, so I opened it in Paint, which I have here. So I'm going to be talking about it in Paint today. Now let me see. I want to, yeah, that's what I want to do. Make sure, yeah, okay, right. Because I made a video previous and then it wasn't on the screen I wanted, and the whole video was on a different screen and it wasn't the screen that I was talking about. So this is my second time doing it. Okay, so on this image, this image is famous. It's being passed around YouTube for a couple of anomalies, which I was previously aware of because I'd seen other people's videos. But what I believe is that if there is an anomaly on Mars, it doesn't make sense for it to be the only one, right? Because how would that make any sense? If there's something, there's going to be other things in proximity as well, right? Does that make sense? I believe it does. So let's go out to the beginning. I'm going to so there's the image right there. Ignore the markers; they're just for me. so that I don't take hours making this video, although it is going to be a longer video than usual. So let's first of all look at the item here that is famous. So people make this video because of this, right? There's actually a couple of things, but first of all, there's a face. This again is very defined face. You've got a cheekbone, you've got an eye socket, but you've got like you've got grooves around the eyes, giving definition in the eyes, like an eyebrow there, clearly defined nose, and the mouth kind of goes submerged under the ground, you know. But yeah, it's an impressive face as far as the faces go. So it's possibly not a case of pareidolia. It could be a genuine face, but let's not harbour too much on any one thing, because it's like the context of all the things collectively that make this a very significant picture. So behind the head, you've got like what maybe looks like a carved type of rock, decorative rock. I don't know, a pillar or something. I don't know. Okay, but the other reason that this image is famous is because of this anomaly over here. You see that where I've got my marker right there? Okay, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit on it. Okay, and if I can not lose it, yeah, there it is right there. Okay, so here we have, it's like half submerged in the ground and half of it is protruding out of the ground, and it's like a flat rock but with a lip around it. Okay, so that it's like a bowl, but it's obviously much bigger than a bowl. So it's not a bowl, it's like, I don't know, it sounds awful to say it's like a paddling pool, but I'm not suggesting it is a paddling pool, but you know, the kind of, if you can picture that, where you've got like something that's like quite big in surface area, but it's got the wall, the little wall around it. So I don't know what that was, but anyway, so people pointed this out and said, oh yeah, this is an interesting anomaly on Mars, of which it is, you know. I mean, it doesn't look like it would be natural. It does look like it's man-made or Martian-made. Okay, but again, let's look at the rest of the surrounding area. Because if we can find lots of strange anomalies, then it's a site of interest, isn't it? And I believe that if they were to send archaeologists to Mars, they'd have a field day, because there's so much. There's so much. I think they have a wonderful time. They ought to think about sending to archaeologists. Then they'll give the game away. Okay, but anyway. So, right, let's just move over here. Okay, see my mouse? And you see this red arrow here I'm pointing to. This, I believe, is very interesting, because if you look at this, it looks like the foundation of a building that's now ruined, possibly a house or certainly a building. And we see a perfect straight line, and then we got this straight line here, and you know, you kind of lose visual, but we got potentially a good rectangle here. But the fact is, it's a very flat surface right here. It definitely looks like a foundation. I mean, this is certainly a straight line. You've got like a continuous block. Okay, it's going into the ground. It looks like the beginnings of a stone house or a brick house, whatever. Or, I mean, would you agree? I mean, like, that does not look natural. That looks purposefully built at some stage. Okay, and then, you know, again up here, possibly the foundations, not as good as an example as that. I think that is an awesome example. But anyway, there you have it. Okay, so there's that there. Okay, so I've got my marker all over the place where there's anomalies, but I'm not going to show you them all. But just to kind of show the gravity, if I may, of the site that this picture was taken. Okay, this was interesting because this is a fuzzy little area where it looks like NASA has played around with the image and somehow disguised something. There's maybe something here that NASA didn't want us to see, or they thought was a bit of a giving the game away type of a thing. And yeah, there's something being covered up there, which is interesting. Don't know, but anyway, let's not harbour on that point. Okay, so we see, okay, here there's like a white something or other, but there's a lot of anomalies that are very questionable. But I was just kind of going around madly, kind of like putting a marker by every one of every potential. yeah, this area, I didn't put a marker here, but I remember seeing it and it was quite interesting. I spent about 3 or 4 hours actually going through this image very carefully to find things. And oh, lost it. But anyway, I mean, you can download it yourself. And I'm trying to make this video, although it's a long one, I'm trying to make it not so long. So let me just find the best. Okay, so here we have 2 pieces of stone that are kind of put together. So we've got a very straight line here. Also, I'm suspicious that perhaps this is related to that. Maybe under here there's some big building, I don't know. But, you know, these things I just don't know. I'm just running through them. Okay, you can decide yourself which hold weight and which don't. This is interesting because we've got like perfect line, perfect line, perfect line. It doesn't even look like stone to me. It looks like wood. Certainly different colour to all of this. It's obviously going under the ground. Looks like a box. Looks like something like purposely crafted to me. Okay, so I thought that was significant. So yeah, we got quite a bit. My goodness, there's so many things. Okay, here we've got like again like that like bowl thing that I showed you. This is a smaller version of it, like an ashtray, if you like. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. You know, perfectly round. Yeah. Okay, so if you saw this all on its own, you'd think, oh well, hey, that's a clever bit of nature, you know. But I mean, you get so many of these, like what I feel are like decorative type of stones that maybe were decorative in a building, and they're just scattered all over the landscape. Okay, scattered all over. Okay, so like there's a couple more, but we haven't got to the best. I'm going to show you. It's just a matter of finding them. But I'm going to show you something very interesting, which I believe is the biggest discovery I've made on Mars. Even though I didn't pay for the, yeah, there it is, right. You see this area here? Let's zoom in there, because this, I think, is just like gives the game away. If this is not evidence of something weird on Mars, then I don't know what is. Okay. Right. Now check this out. I'm going to go here. Okay. Now this is a plank, I think, but who knows what it is. But let's just talk about what we do know. That is a perfect straight line. If you wanted to draw a straight line on a piece of paper and you were on Mars, you'd pick this thing up, right? Because you could draw a perfect line with a pencil on a piece of paper, because that is perfect, right? You've also then got your line up here. This is a perfect rectangle. So perfect line, perfect line, perfect line. It looks like a plank, okay? Different color to the rest all around the area. Okay, but not only that, now this is what takes it to the next level, makes it even more impressive. Okay, is you see this line, this groove. So you've got a groove down here and a groove down here, so it's like a decorative type of thing. So maybe a piece of skirting board in a house, who knows, who knows. I'm speculating a lot here, but like that is not a natural piece of debris on the landscape. Okay, perfect rectangular shaped thing, a completely uniform shape. Not only that, with grooves going down in a perfect line. Okay, I've never seen anything so impressive on Mars until now. Until that, I saw that. I thought that was pretty amazing. Here's an anomaly. Here's an anomaly. You can put your hand in there. That's like open space. I don't know what that is. It's very strange. Okay. Oh yeah, right here. This is a very impressive one as well, right? Draw a line around it right there. You see that? Now that is weird. Okay, because look, you can see teeth. Now, when I say teeth, don't misunderstand me. I'm not talking about animal teeth or human teeth. I'm talking about teeth as in like the jagged, you know, like a comb teeth, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so you got like, it's like a very light colored object. It's like a nutcracker shape. It kind of goes up, and then you got like, it goes in a V, and then it's like hidden behind a rock. Okay, but you see this? This is like jagged. Looks metal to me, and it's like it's jagged like teeth. So that's very weird. That's very weird. Okay, so why are we seeing all of this scattered all over the landscape? Well, to me, it's simple, right? We obviously had someone living in this house, okay, possibly up here, maybe, okay, but certainly in there. Goodness me. Okay, there's also buildings, I believe, over here, okay, intact, not even in ruins. Okay, it looks to me like buildings there. Okay, but we can't talk about it too much because we just don't know, because we can't zoom in and get a clear image. Okay, there's a building there that looks a very clean building, like it's not even damaged. You can even see the dark bits where there's openings. Yeah, again here, dark bits where there's openings. You can see lighter where there's like structure. It looks like a structure to me. Okay, so there's buildings all on the horizon. Now this is really strange. Okay, I did a little marker here to remind myself to say to you, look at this mountain. Does that look a hint of green to you? It does to me, which is strange considering that NASA say there's no oxygen on Mars, so there can't be plant life, but looks a bit green to me. Okay, so anyway, so when we consider we got all these like buildings and houses, it looks like this area is populated. Okay, so there was like people living here at one stage. So if people were living here and it was destroyed and there was like some kind of a war or something, or there was bombs, or there was something, or even an asteroid or some cataclysm, you know, something happened to kind of blow everything to smithereens, then it is logical to expect across the landscape to be fragments and bits and pieces, okay, like this, okay, like bits of buildings, you know, the stones, the decorative interior stones and bits and pieces and furniture and, you know, whatever. We're bound to see evidence of it on the landscape in the vicinity. We are bound to. Okay. Now, the reason we don't see it everywhere, all over, is because whatever happened a long time ago, and there's a lot happens. There's a lot of weather. There's a lot of sand on Mars. This desert. Okay, it's barren. A lot of the water is evaporated and vaporized because of the atmospheric pressure gone. Okay, and although that's another subject of which I'll not go into now, but I've done previous videos about it. There's a lot more water on Mars than what NASA are leading us to believe. But do you know what? So much is like buried. Okay, so much is buried, and we are seeing what we're lucky enough to see, stuff that is maybe half buried, half protruding through the surface, or stuff that is just on the surface. But like I said, if the archaeologists get busy here, all right, then they will unearth Earth. You know what I mean? They will dig up. I would say, I would put money on it. They'll get a lot of stuff. They'll get a lot of stuff. Okay. They'll find some very interesting things. Very interesting things indeed. Okay, so download the image and have a look through it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I think that's a rock. Yeah. But there's just bits and pieces everywhere that just do not look natural. Okay. The lines are it's just straight lines. They look like interiors. It's weird. I mean, hey, look at that. Look at that. You know. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that looked like a book. You know. Don't know what that is, but that's something. That looks like a picture frame. Yeah, it's black, it's square. I'm not suggesting it, I'm just saying what it looks like, but that looks like a car tire. I don't think there's cars on Mars. Maybe, nothing will surprise me nowadays. But, you know, it's curved. You can almost see like tire tread. I mean, that's very weird. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of weird abnormalities. A lot of weird abnormalities. So yeah, see what you think. There's another picture frame. You know, black is jet black, right? Square, right? Weird. Okay, so anyway, so I'll end it there.